Assalamu alaikum, my YouTube family. I hope you all are fine and enjoying good health. So today I'm back with another new video, which is going to be entirely on magazine article. In this video, you are going to learn the details of what a magazine article is and how we need to write it basically. The students whom I actually am teaching these days, they were requesting me to make a video, a specifically, a detailed video on how to write it from the beginning till the end, how to structure each sentence, because there are lots of students who are having problems in constructing the structures and jotting down the points and extracting the things from the text, because as the syllabus is changed, we are unable to extract the better information. So today's video is entirely be on explaining you that how to extract things, how to structure them, how to write it, what should be the beginning, middle and end, and what are the ways to start it. All right, so let's just start the video. Before moving on, I would really request you to please subscribe to my channel and also mention the comment section below that how useful this video for you, and if you need more videos like that, you need to of course mention it in the comment section below. So let's just start. All right, today's topic is basically the strand which we are working on is article writing. Article writing basically has two types. We all are aware about it, that it has two types, and first is newspaper article and another is magazine article. All right. So the newspaper article basically is in the serious tone. We have to write it in a professional and serious tone, something which is published in a newspaper. Whereas the magazine article is in a bit, amiable tone, a friendly or euphoric expression is mentioned in it. It's kind of a story, which we are writing it in a story form and also explaining the daily life things in the magazine. All right, so now we have, the different thing which in this new paper pattern is that we have two texts. So this is text A, let's suppose, and this is text B. So first thing which you're going to get after getting the paper in your hands, after getting these two texts, what you need to do is that you have to give a detailed reading to it, because it's from the reading paper. And while reading, keep a pen in your hand and also underline the keywords which you have to extract from it, and you have to, transform them in your own words. So let's start. The first one is about digital youth. I know my older relatives look at me and think it must be terrible to grow are being suffocated by technology. They're talking about technology, so something, we need to start with suffocated by technology or giving the information about the computers. We have to start with it. But they are wrong. It's a general perspective which they're explaining in the beginning. First of all, it's not terrible, it's great, and secondly, it's not suffocating. So it's the viewpoint which they are explaining, so we can explain it in our own words. It's liberating. I could not have achieved what I have without the aid of computers. Without the help of computers, we cannot even spend a single day. Computers make doing the basic things much quicker, which leaves doing the basic things much quicker. We have to, transform this line in our own words, which leaves more time for humans to think, do, and create. We can, transform these things in our own wordings, and they're also fun. There's no better way to relax than doing some gaming at the end of a long day. Also, we can do some gaming on computers. But the greatest benefit of computer is the education, is in the education of young people. So it also helps us in the education as well. At school, I chose subjects that relied on modern technology. I learned basic programming, and that's also from the computers, and how to code. I wrote music using cutting edge software. So, we can use the softwares to computers, but that allowed me to produce a professional piece of coursework, and that's also through computers. So, this paragraph is entirely on the benefits of computers. Best of all, in art, I used a tablet to paint. You can see some of my art on the university website. People seem to like it. I'm from Karachi originally, but I'm studying overseas. Computer technology has allowed me to keep in touch with family and friends. Okay, so you can get connected to your family and friends even if they are living far away. I'm able to speak to the people at home every day I want. Computers are great. They make the world a smaller place in a good way and bring people together. So these are the keywords which I've highlighted, and I want to transform all these keywords meeting the criteria of my word limit. Okay. Now moving on to the text B. It is a very modern problem. It seems like, they are explaining the pessimistic point of view, something negative about that. Okay, let's read. When I young, I must admit that I spent a lot of time playing very basic mirror games. When I was young, he's explaining somebody, the writer is explaining his own story. Spent a lot of time playing very basic mirror games. So we're going to underline that. An aphoric expression, a story, but time change. Now I have times change. I have children of my own, two lovely teenagers who, in some ways, benefit from the huge advances in technology. Those children also get advance benefits from the advances in technology, but I really worry about their long term use of computers. When COVID was even here, the transformation of the students from physical studies to through these computers, online studies, it was a huge transformation. At that time parents were also worried that how the students are going to cope up with that. But there are benefits and drawbacks both, side by side of everything. It seems to me that they have stopped thinking for themselves. Now, stop thinking for themselves. It's something important to underline. Knowing facts and information is essential. Okay, so the positive aspect as well. Unfortunately, computers block that process, block the process of thinking, block the process of working on the facts and information. Instead, people just look things up online. They don't bother to learn things anymore. We now live in a world swamped by, it's busy with information and often misinformation. Anybody can build a website containing badly researched facts. So this is a true fact. Years ago people used books that were well researched and fact checked. So it's a comparison from the past to the present. You could trust them. You can't trust a computer to help you do that. We can't trust a computer. I also worry about the time wasted on computers. Yes, the time wasted on computers, it's an important keyword. A friend of mine told me his son spends hours playing games. He barely goes outside and doesn't really communicate much. That can't be a good real thing for young people to or their parents. Not only it is an unhealthy way to spend your life, but it's also affects school work. So these are the points we need to extract. It is an unhealthy way. It affects your school work. It is not possible to just succeed academically when you are in excessive use of computers. While being obsessed with computers, I've noticed recently how my son's handwriting is beginning to deteriorate. Deteriorate. It's the writing is getting extremely bad day by day. He seems to type far too much these days, and his beautiful handwriting is suffering because we have shifted to the typing nowadays. Now, this was all, about the text A and text B. I've read it and I've underlined the keywords. This is the way you guys are going to do, all right? Keeping in hand the paper, you have to, underline the keywords first and then start transforming them in your own words. Now, let's move on to the question. Now, the question is, in a directed writing activity, you will be asked to show your writing and reading skills in a 250 to 350 word response. All right. So, this is the example task. Based on this, I have read the text. Write a magazine article for it's a magazine article. We got to know for your school magazine. This is also we got to know about the use of computers among people of your age. The school magazine is read by students, parents, parents, and teachers. Okay, so we have to see the keywords. We've read it. It's a school magazine. The genre we got to know. The topic is the use of computers among people of your age. We got to know this. Now we are going to, see the bullet points. These are the bullet points, my dear friends, we need to focus on. In your article you should evaluate the ideas and opinions in both texts. So whatever ideas and opinions they have given, we are going to evaluate them in our own wordings. All right, give your own views about whether computers are a benefit or a disadvantage to young people. So how many parts we need to discuss in it? Benefit is the first part, second is disadvantages. So two, like the pros and cons. Okay, drawbacks and benefits. Base your article on what you have read in both texts, but be careful to use your own words. Address both of the bullet points. These bullet points are really very important to focus on. Begin your article with a suitable headline. Now, headline should be quite catchy, that it the only headline should explain the whole entire game of your article writing. And we got to know the word limit should be 250 to 350 words in between this word limit, bracket. Now we got the whole information, we got to know the texts, we have read it, we have two texts, we have read them, and we have read the question too. We've got to know the keywords of this, and now we will be moving towards the how to write it. And these are some of the questions my students have asked me. Let me first clear your queries. How do you structure a magazine article? An effective article is structured into three parts: the introduction, the body, and conclusion. But the game doesn't end here. The introduction hooks the reader. It should be like a hook. It should be catchy enough that it should explain the whole thing in the beginning. And the writer gets extremely, impressed after reading your introduction with a strong quote or an anecdote. All right. So if I'll ask my students that what is an anecdote, I'm going to give you the time to pause this video and write it in the comment section below, that do you know what is an anecdote and how to embed anecdote in your writings. It is okay. Giving a pause, please write it in the comment section below. It is basically a short, amusing, and interesting story. Interesting story. So we need to embed a short and interesting story which the writer, the examiner, has already embedded in the text. So we're going to extract that and we will be explaining about it. It is going to be quite helpful, right? And then the body develops the subject. Whatever subject we're talking about, we are going to talk about that, and explaining that subject, we are going to explain that how it affects his health, his studies, and what happens. The conclusion leaves the reader with a question, that should we give more time to the computers or to the books? So this is the main important thing. We can even pose a rhetorical question towards the conclusion. How do you start a magazine article? Now, second thing is this: an effective magazine article begins with a strong lead that hooks the reader into reading the entire article. Often the opening segment includes the nut graph, a paragraph that gives details necessary for understanding the story. What is the magazine article format? It's the basic format is going to be that you have to write. The format of a magazine article is different from the format of a newspaper, because magazine article only requires your catchy headline, and after that you have to start writing from the beginning. And magazine article, however, presents a subjective, shaped point of view of a subject, and often the most important facts come later in the story. Okay, now let's write on this magazine article, that what are we going to do today. This is the question. Please read out once again, and then let's start writing with me. First, we are going to write the catchy headline, which is something very, very important and significant for us. There are ample headlines which I can give you the ideas of. We can write regarding the advancement in technology, regarding each and every other thing. But what I'm gonna do is that, basing the writing, I'm going to just keep in mind that we have to discuss the pros and cons. So I will be writing this. This is the headline I'm starting with: smart solutions for your digital dilemmas. All right, this is going to be a catchy headline where we are explaining each and everything that we are going to embed the solution, digital technology, advancements in that computer, and the dilemma. Something which is going to be affecting that to a bad situation for people. So, what are the solutions for that? It is covering each and everything. So, the title should be something which is catchy and explaining each and everything in detail. Okay, now moving on towards this is like a headline. All right, so we have achieved it successfully. And now moving on to start with it. We're going to start with explaining with the explanation of the computer. All right, my dear students. So how we are going to do is that, as I told you already, we need to just, inform the basic information. So I wrote computers is an electronic device made by Charles Babbage to solve arithmetic and logical operations. The beginning, the, information which embedding in the introduction should be quite solid. It is one of the very important instrument of our life. There is not a single day that we can go without the use of computers, and that's the truth. We are also mentioning the facts. The advancement in computer technology has made it possible for almost everything to be done through the computer and over the internet. With the help of these two tools, we can accomplish our office work even if we are not at home. What are the tools? The computer and also the technology, all right? The apps, the advancement in technology, the easiness which the technology has made for us, it's quite useful. And also the AI which we can embed these days to get the information at the spur of the moment. You can also mention that too. Not only this, you can also take care of education, shopping, and research, and various other things too. Computers are useful in business, in education, and home. On the other hand, we have to use the transition words too. We are completely suffocated by modern technology. Firstly, it's quite liberating to utilize technology. This word liberating I have picked up from the text. Utilize means use. Instead of keep on using that word use technology, we can use utilize, we can use employ whenever you are in need of it, because without the help of computers or without the assistance or guidance of a computer, you can also use without the assistance of computers, it's arduous is the synonym of difficult. It's difficult to accomplish tasks sometimes, whereas the long-term use of computers, now this long-term use of computers, thing was mentioned in this text where it was written here. The long-term use of computers is always, she worries about, but I really worry about their long-term use of computers. So we can, relate it with the children, that whereas the long-term use of computers for teenagers is quite frustrating these days. Now we are going to explain as it is. Now, what are we going to explain in detail after this long-term use of computers? We haven't, it seems that they have stopped thinking for themselves, knowing the facts and information. So, as it is, stopped thinking. So, how are we going to, embed this stopped word? We are going to definitely, find out the synonym of the word stopped, as it has, as it has seized the thinking ability of youth. All right, so we have picked that keyword, the same keyword which I told you. So it has seized, it has stopped the thinking ability of youth, to be creative and do things on their own due to the technology, due to the technology providing providing information information in no time. All right, this is what technology gives us. It provides information in no time, right? After that, you are going to move towards the next keyword which we have written here, and that is, they're talking about mirrors block that process, okay, and things up online. People just look things up online, and okay, fine. So people just look things up online. We're going to discuss this point now. So this is the way, my dear friends, we need to talk about, this in the article writing. They have stopped thinking, and we will be just, transforming another point. People these days are more often scrolling and spending time, or maybe we can write out that, spending their precious time in watching reels, which is affecting their critical thinking thinking process, and also when they spend hours in watching and scrolling, it makes them addicted, and they lack relationships and bondings with their family and friends. Although it's quite, easy to get connected with your family and friends in no time, but people have no time to, contact their family and friends because they are all the time scrolling and watching, and they are too much on it. It's all about the youngsters, who are involved in it so much. So we are going to think of the possible, points about it, and each, line we're going to see that what writer has given, we will be explaining it into detail. Time wasted on computers, spending hours, playing games, barely goes outside. Now let's talk about these things. Due to this, the youngsters barely go outside and engross themselves deeply with the use of computers. All right, so this is actually, the way of writing it, and I hope you got that, the gist of that, how to write it and how to achieve the whole thing in, this kind of thing. And also, we are done with almost like 200 words till now. We need to now, sum up. Actually, we're not going to sum up. We can also, mention about all these things, whereas we can talk about, it affects our school work, succeed academically. We cannot, it's impossible to succeed academically. And the health, the handwriting, it is beginning to deteriorate. And also, we are going to suffer with, you can say, speech delay. So these are the points we can also add into it. And this is all from my side. And at the end, you can also talk about, the conclusion. There is more which you have to write into it. You can also complete and send me your text so I can check and give you remarks. And then you can end up that excessive use of technology will surely be harmful for youngsters, and they won't they won't be, or they will not be able to accomplish their school tasks on time, and it will lead to destruction or a huge devastation in their education educational journey. All right. So this is, how we can end up, we can sum up. It could be a better ending which we can talk about, and we can write, to some of the things. By keeping a balance, we can also write that although employing the technology within limits will be effective. But of course, as I told already, that excessive use of technology will surely be harmful for youngsters, and they won't be able to accomplish their school tasks on time. It will actually, lead to destruction in their educational journey. Because although employing the technology within limits, if you're going to keep yourself in limitations, that will be effective. Otherwise, it's going to be, extremely dangerous and arduous for your health, for your success in life, and every other thing. So this was all from my side. I hope you have learned it, and love watching the article writing. And because it was exceeding the time limit of because the video. So I have summed it up here, but I just wanted to tell you that this is a sentence structure we need to create. We are going to write and in this manner. And also we need to make paragraphs. We need to wherever it's required, we need to put the commas. We need to do these kind of things. And also we can pose the rhetorical questions too. All right. So we can pose the questions in between that. And something, if you feel like, at the end of that, when you're doing the brainstorming, and at the end of that, when you're doing the proofreading especially, you need to put the inverted commas. Punctuations are very important. So you can write that liberating to utilize technology. You can put the inverted commas in some things where it's required. And you are using hyphenated sentences, that's correct. You're putting full stops on time, you're using the transition words, so that's a good thing. And also changing the shift of the sentence structure, that's a plus. So this was all from my side. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have learned the article writing in detail. And we'll meet you in the next video. Allah Hafiz.